Welcome to Two Small Biz Guys Biz Buzz. Stay tuned for an exciting small business discussion that will empower your business. And don't forget your free download of Ray's Crib Notes. Now, on with the show.
All right, welcome to another Biz Buzz issue with Ray and Zen, sponsored by Two Small Biz Guys and Pro Peer Advisory Boards.
Who are you?
I'm Zen.
And I'm Ray.
Still
Still Zen.
I'm still Zen.
Still Zen.
I'm Zen.
Okay.
So,
Okay. What are we going to talk about
sometimes
today?
I'm still. We're going to talk about actually a wonderful aspect that Verne Harnish, who's the CEO of
Gazelles.
The Gazelles, which are a really interesting organization. They wrote a book called, what's the book?
The one-page business plan.
One-page business plan. Well, that wasn't. There was another
Oh, the
book.
Rockefeller Habits.
Yes, Rockefeller Habits 2.0. That's good. Which we've also done a show on Two Small Biz Guys about. Two shows that actually they're two of the most listened to. So fairly important. You might take a listen to them. So we're talking about a one-page strategic plan or a business plan that they came up with. That's really a great strategic tool to help develop your business. And you'll be able to get the information from that at peeradvisoryboard.com/one-page.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so the aspect is, if you're a small business owner, do you do a business plan? I bet you don't, because most business owners.
Well, they don't. They say like 80% of them don't ever have a business plan, and the old statistics are that those who don't plan, the fail to plan to fail.
That's right.
So, according to Churchill anyway. But I don't know, because today, with such a rapid market changing, can you plan that far ahead?
Well, the question is how far. The question is
Moore's Law. Can you 30, 90, 60 days or 120 days, 6 months?
Okay, well, I think companies need to plan for some time period. So the aspect is whether it's going to be 3 months, a quarter, whether it's going to be 1 year. Most companies generally plan on 1 year.
Mm-hmm. And of course, depending on whether it's digital delivery or you've got capital investments in equipment and things like that.
Well, okay, if you're making major capital investment or you make major investment into R&D, you're looking down the road as to what is going to be the strength of that product years out as to where you make that investment. If you're making a stable type product, which is kind of year after year after year is approximately the same, you get maybe some minor increase, it's a safer bet. But if you're going into a high technology item, where there's rapid change,
right?
Who knows? Where it used to be take 20 years for markets or products to change, now you're maybe 4, 5, 6 years. So it's really a different thing.
Well, even now with digital products and the accessibility to the cloud, although it really isn't the cloud, it's a series of network computers, but the ability to do things in that environment, to have it as a foundation for workflow, as opposed to individual computers in a network, that has changed.
Okay, but his aspect is that he talks about I'll give you the pyramid.
I know you're technologically challenged, but that's
no,
okay.
No, that's not a question. Just moving along. He talks about the base of the foundation, or the base of the pyramid, is really what are the core values of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of those core values, builds what's the purpose. So now you're starting to talk what is really the area that the company wants to go, what are the targets. Now it's interesting that smaller companies basically have smaller targets. Though they're really interested in getting a particular customer.
Niche markets.
And niche market. They're far more niche market oriented. Then he talks about what are the goals, the actions to achieve the goals, and the schedule to get them. So, but I think if you boil this down to shorter time frames of 1 year, because we talked about, I think in our first program, the 12-week year, and I think that's a very applicable type area, because then if you don't make it within a shorter time period, you can now investigate as to why you didn't make it.
Well, and it just fits with the whole, you know, start with the end in mind. You know where you want to be, and you're backing those activities and the strategies out of that to be in that place by that time. And so you bring it down to eventually you're functioning at a daily, even hourly level with knowing what to do, how to do, where to do. Of course, the why is a big piece of that.
Yeah, you get that point. But the aspect is you have to say, okay, where do I want to be in a week, a month, a day, whatever it might be. And then the aspect is, what are the actions?
Yeah, what's it going to take to get me there?
So a lot of people, their business plan is, I'm going to increase sales by X amount. My sales
That's all well and good. How?
Yeah, that's right. The question is, okay, how am I going to do it? Well, it's just going to be there. I'm going to be lucky. Now, but as you said before, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And in today's environment, you have to plan, because your plan might be, okay, I'm going to have a market in this fashion. Maybe it's going to be an SEO type of activity, might be the new technology for marketing. But the aspect is you have to now start this, and when are you going to start it, and how much are you going to budget for it, and what type of results do you expect to get, so you can measure your way as you move forward.
And if you can measure it, then you can manage it.
In theory.
In theory. Yeah, there's an awful lot of theory involved in this. And you know, a lot of people feel that when you plan or you create the strategic plan, that you're kind of casting activities in stone. You're really not. It's flexible, because you're going to be learning on daily, weekly, monthly what works and what doesn't, and how you're going to need to adapt and modify, because that's all part of the evaluation of your effectiveness in your execution.
Yeah, but also it's today in your marketing, it's also trial and error. So if you go out and you do e-blast, you trial and error on subject lines, content, what really are people interested in? What can you really give them?
Right.
So business in that respect is trial and error. The cost of doing those trials isn't that expensive. If you're making a new product to manufacture, your cost of getting ready is pretty expensive. So you better
have a prototype or maybe several, and
you have to be a lot more confident you got the right product, which means you have to do a lot more thinking or research rather than just throwing stuff against the wall and say, okay, I hope this one sticks.
Right. Yeah, because in that scenario, you've got to be laser focused in how you move that product into the marketplace, and the research that's necessary in order to know that can be pretty extensive.
Okay, but the number one criteria with that is also cash projections. Because the golden rule, what's a golden rule in business?
Cash is king.
Yes, cash is king, but those who got the cash those who have the gold get the rule.
Right.
So you need to have cash to support these activities. So when you look at this, you have to say, okay, what is the payback period? How many do we expect to have sold by this time? If I'm going to hire somebody, when do I expect that they're going to be able to be giving me a return on the investment? Because there's a learning curve for every position that you bring someone in.
Right.
What is the sales cycle time? What is the development time? You know, I have companies in some of these groups, they bring in a software program to help them internally. And they say, well, I think it's going to take us 3 months. No, it takes them 9 months.
Right. Well, there's back in my degree days, there was a rule of thumb. There was a quadratic equation to figure it all out, and corporate formulas and all that kind of stuff. But the rule of thumb is it will take you 3 times as long to accomplish what you think you can do.
Yeah, that's probably a good rule of thumb. You think you can get it done in 1 month, and it takes you 3.
It's not going to take you 3. And there's many factors involved in that. Now you can pull that schedule in somewhat by your ability to strategize and plan well, and know contingencies, and when issues come up, have resolutions in place so you don't have to waste time thinking about it.
Yeah, that's true. It also helps if you know the actions you have to do, and you measure your completion of actions. It also gets, if you get involved in some type of PERT diagram or program evaluation as to where you're going. So you make sure you get the critical items that have to get done, where the other supplementary items are based on that. So you put your emphasis on the right area. So there's a lot of ingredients.
And it may sound very complex. When you know the right questions to ask or the right people to go to ask what those questions are, then your ability to perform is a lot simpler and more concise.
I'm good on asking the questions.
You are.
I don't always know the answer, but
I'm the detail guy. I figured it out. So speaking of figuring out, you can get the information that we've been talking about today and a lot more at peeradvisoryboard.com. And this particular feature that we've been talking about, the one-page business plan, you'd be able to get at peeradvisoryboard.com/one-page. And we thank you for the time. I thank you for your time again, Ray.
okay,
Always a pleasure. A lot of fun.
more than one page.
Yeah, more than one page. Thanks again for listening. This has been BizBuzz with
Ray
and Zen. And we'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching Two Small Biz Guys BizBuzz, brought to you by Pro Peer Advisory Board. Stay tuned for more exciting small business discussions in future episodes. And don't forget your free download of Ray's Crit Notes for this show. See you next time.